welcome to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Guerrera and today I'm going to be reviewing a television drama called Gunpowder. It was released in 2017 and it consisted of 3 episodes. It stars Kit Harrington, Liv Tyler, Gattis, Peter Mullan, among many others. The series is based on the famous gunpowder treason plot of 1605, in which a group of English Catholics wanted to blow up King James I at the House of Lords during the state opening of England's Parliament, because he was a Protestant ruler who was going on this crusade to torture and kill anyone who was a Catholic in his realm. And just 3 fun facts before I begin. Kit Harrington plays Robert Catesby, and he is actually a direct descendant of Catesby. Also, I saw the last and 3rd episode of Gunpowder on November 5th, 2017, which deals with these events that took place for 112 years before, on the 5th of November of 1605. And finally, it was cool to see Liv Tyler, who plays Arwen in Lord of the Rings, acting beside Kit Harrington, who plays Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. Just because I like fantasy and those books and adaptations up to a point. Oh, and before I begin, let me just say that this will be a video without spoilers, so you can sit back and enjoy. I am an Anglophile who loves history and period dramas and British royalty, as well as the actors who starred on this show. So of course I was excited to watch it. Still, I actually don't know that much about what happens with England during the 17th century. I have an overall idea, but I know what I'm more familiarized with stuff that came in the 19th century, for example, or last century. So whenever I heard something about the Gunpowder Plot, I had a vague idea it was connected to Guy Fawkes, but I didn't know why bonfires were involved. And I also linked it to the film V for Vendetta, to the famous Remember the 5th of November. But I didn't even know why Guy Fawkes was wearing a mask or something. Still, I wanted to watch Gunpowder because, as you can see, it was a much needed history lesson. After the legendary Queen Elizabeth I died, she was succeeded by her nephew, King James I, son of her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, but he was a Protestant, so he sees Catholics in his realm as a threat to his ruling, which is in a way why he decides to persecute them. I'm sure there were a lot of more details involved, but I'm not still that much of an expert in this time period, so... Anyways, the Catholics during this time period won't be easily broken. They don't want to go down without a fight, basically. So when they get tired of being hunted down, tortured, and killed, some of them decide to come up with this treason plot in which they will kill the king, hoping it will solve some of their problems. And this will be known in history as the Gunpowder Plot, and some of its 2 more prominent figures are Guy Fawkes and Robert Catesby. So in this show we get an idea of who these people were, what and why the king and his advisors were persecuting Catholics, how the Gunpowder Plot came about, its outcome, and some of its aftermath. I give Gunpowder a 5 out of 5 stars review, even though I can't be a judge as to historical accuracy because I'm not that familiarized with it, but I highly enjoyed it, and I definitely have a clearer idea of what the Gunpowder Plot was about. And I also now have my British kings a bit more on focus, because now I know that King James I was the father of the one Oliver Cromwell had executed. But yeah, I loved how the show had this like really dark atmosphere and vibe to it. It was almost like a thriller. And while I'd seen adaptations of the Spanish Inquisition against Jews, for example, in Spain, I didn't know that they had been hunted down themselves in England at this point in history. I love the performances, the costumes, the scenery, basically everything, and I really recommend it. One of my favorite things about it, though, was seeing Mark Gattis portraying Robert Cecil. Not because he's a great actor, though that helped, but because I've been intrigued by Robert Cecil for years. Or it all started when I first saw the movie Anonymous, and he was just this historical figure whom I was really drawn to learn more about. He advised Queen Elizabeth I in her final years, succeeding his father in the job, and thanks to Shakespeare he is linked in history to Richard III, and I am a Ricardian, which means I love Richard III. And so now I just want to mention some things about all this. Queen Elizabeth was a Tudor, and her uncle was Richard III, who was a York. So Tudor propaganda really wanted to portray Richard as this twisted, evil tyrant, and Shakespeare's works were one of the ways in which they succeeded to do this for a long time. And when he was writing his famous Richard III play, in which the monarch was shown as this heartless, bad man who would stop at nothing to get to the crown, Shakespeare based, in a way, Richard's physical appearance to that of Robert Cecil. This was, among other reasons, because of 2 things. Both Richard and Robert had these back problems that made their shoulders stand out. The former had scoliosis tuberculosis, and the latter was a hunchback. You can see why Shakespeare linked them together, but it was also because Robert was a Puritan who was against plays and entertainment, and that made bad business for Shakespeare. So he took his revenge by having the people of England identify Robert with Richard III, a discredited person who was associated with evil and treason, lies, power hungry, and bloodthirsty. But yes, anyways, I think that this is all for my review of Gunpowder. Thank you very much for watching, and please let me know what you thought about my video and about the show if you've seen it. If you haven't, please do see it. It's so cool. In the description box below, you can find a link to the IMDb page for the series. I'm Carrera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a great day. I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye.